After the divorce, I received a large sum of money from an unknown source and a safe filled with my photos. On the back of each photo was written, "Wishing Shinseiji peace and smooth sailing." The name signed was Fu Yunchuan, the name of my ex-husband's brother. He had recently died of liver cancer. Starting over in another life, I returned to the day the marriage alliance between our families was agreed upon, once again given the choice of a marriage partner. I did not hesitate to point to the person in the corner whose gaze had been fixed on me. I choose him. In the private room, there was laughter and cheerful conversation. The woman sitting opposite me smiled kindly. "Shinseiji, which of our boys do you like?" I snapped back to reality and scanned the surroundings. Wasn't this the place where the Shan and Fu families agreed to the marriage alliance 8 years ago? The realism of the moment made it hard for me to believe. I pinched myself. And the heart-wrenching pain made me realize this was not a dream. Before I could answer, a voice that I loathed to the point of nausea spoke up. "Ah. Seiji and I are truly in love, please rest assured uncle and aunt, and in trust." "Ah." Seiji to me, the speaker was the marriage partner I had chosen in my past life, the youngest son of the Fu family, Fu Yunjiang. I thought we were truly in love too, so I chose him without hesitation. After we got married, his true nature revealed itself. He gave me the cold shoulder, hardly spent nights at home, and made it clear that he married me only for the resources of the Shin family. I had a mental breakdown and asked for a divorce many times, but he refused. Eventually, when the Shin family was ruined and my father hospitalized with depression, he agreed to sign the divorce papers since I was no longer of any value to him. Just when I was at my lowest, a large sum of money appeared in my bank account. A person claiming to be Fu Yunchuan's assistant approached me and handed me a safe. Before leaving, the assistant told me, "This contains the most precious thing Mr. Fu had in this world. The code is your birthday. Please make sure to open it, Miss Shin." I had an idea about the origin of the money in the bank, but I didn't understand why it was given to me. Filled with doubts, I opened the safe. Inside, it was filled with photos of me, from childhood to my wedding, and on the back of each photo, it read, "Wishing Shinseiji peace and smooth sailing." Fu Yunjiang once mentioned that his brother had an unrequited love, a white moonlight. A bold idea crossed my mind, but I had only met Fu Yunjiang's brother 3 times, once at the marriage alliance banquet, once at our wedding, and the last time at his funeral. How could he possibly have feelings for me? "Little Seiji, speak up." My mother's voice pulled my thoughts back from the chaos, seeing Fu Yunjiang's determined expression. I hardened my face, pointing to Fu Yunchuan, who sat in the dimmest light. I said firmly, "I choose him." "What did you say?" The whole room was shocked by my decision, with Fu Yunjiang reacting the most violently as he slammed the table and stood up. I said, "I choose Fu Yunchuan." I looked at Fu Yunchuan and spoke word by word, hoping he could hear clearly. From the beginning, I had felt a burning gaze following me, but I hadn't thought much of it. It had always been him. A flicker of surprise appeared in Fu Yunchuan's eyes, which quickly returned to normal, but his reddening ear tips betrayed his feigned composure. Fu Yunchuan adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and looked at me seriously. "Miss Shin, marriage is no child's play. I am a widower, not a divorcee. Please consider carefully." I didn't hesitate. "That suits me perfectly, Shin girl. Are you sure you've thought this through? Weren't you with Yunjiang?" Fu's mother tried to persuade me further, but I interrupted her. In my previous life, I had suffered at the hands of Fu Yunjiang, and I had sought her help to no avail. Every time, I received the same response: "Fu Yunjiang is working hard out there. Just hang in there a little longer." But enduring it only led to increasingly severe situations, suppressing an inexplicable sadness in my heart. I said, "You don't need to persuade me anymore. This time I choose Fu Yunchuan." "I don't agree," Fu Yunjiang retorted, his expression volatile. Fu's father gave him a stern look, prompting him to restrain himself. I knew about his bad temper. Even before we were married in my previous life, he would lose his temper at me. Looking back, I must have been blinded to have fallen for him. His agreement or disagreement doesn't count. My gaze swept past him and settled on Fu Yunchuan, meeting his deep, profound eyes. "I wonder if Mr. Fu agrees." He glanced at his watch. "The Civil Affairs office hasn't closed yet, Miss Shin. Would you like to go now?" "Of course." My usually silent father looked at me with a reluctant gaze. "Well, it resolves a long-standing issue between both families." After both families agreed, I followed Fu Yunchuan out of the private room. He carried himself with an upright grace, making even a plain black trench coat look distinguished and stylish. His long strides moved forward relentlessly, exemplifying what it means to walk with a breeze. After getting into the car, Fu Yunchuan didn't immediately start driving. His expression was serene as his hands, resting on the steering wheel, gradually clenched. "Where do you want to go now?" "I'll take you." I was puzzled. "Aren't we going to the Civil Affairs office?" Fu Yunchuan's tone was low, his eyes avoiding mine. "You weren't just saying that in the heat of the moment because you were upset with him?" I instantly realized the misunderstanding and quickly explained, waving my hands. "No. I am serious about marrying you. The Fu Yunchuan I remembered was a decisive king in the business world, cold, proud, and distant. In my previous life, after I got married, Fu Yunjiang took over the domestic business while he expanded internationally, but today, I saw his vulnerable side. I remembered how in my previous life, he left me a fortune and locked my photo in a safe. A sudden sting in my heart, driven by curiosity, made me carefully ask him, Mr. Fu, why did you agree to marry me? He paused, a flicker of something unusual passing through his dark eyes. Can I tell you later? All right. I was both apprehensive and eager as I awaited his answer. I was ready, yet he asked to wait. It felt like a TV lottery drawing where the power cuts off just before the last number is revealed. But since we weren't close yet and he didn't want to tell, I didn't press him. After all, there's still a long future ahead. At the entrance of the Civil Affairs office, I hesitated. The scenes of my marriage from my previous life vivid in my mind, casting a huge shadow that made me fearful. Noticing I hadn't followed, Fu Yunchuan, who was walking ahead, stopped, his expression turned despondent, his eyes gradually dimming. I realized that he was like a proud but insecure cat. Extremely sensitive and inept at expressing himself, feeling somewhat embarrassed, I was about to explain when Fu Yunchuan preempted me. You still have the chance to back out now. Marriage is for a lifetime. If you don't want to marry me, I can take you home right now. The phrase a lifetime, which should have been beautiful and full of dreams, sounded unexpectedly solid coming from him. I hurried forward, linking my arm with his. Mr. Fu, the Civil Affairs office is about to close. Let's go in. In less than 5 minutes, Fu Yunchuan and I had our marriage certificate in hand. Fu Yunchuan looked at the little red booklet with a tender gaze, a subtle smile barely detectable at the corner of his mouth. I stared at the marriage certificate, still in disbelief that I had been reborn. Could all this be just a dream? Mr. Fu, I would like to go home for a bit. Sure, I'll take you there. Now that we're married, if you prefer not to live with me, I have no objections. It seemed my offhand comment had triggered an overreaction from him, reading too much into it. I mean, you can come with me, there are some household items that I need help with moving. Mr. Fu, okay. After packing some clothes and receiving a few words of advice from my parents, I followed Fu Yunchuan back to his private villa. His villa was elegantly simple from the outside, yet grand. The interior was done in natural wood, fitting his refined temperament perfectly. A faint scent of fresh grass and wood lingered in the air. If you don't like the decoration here, I can have someone change it tomorrow, he said, probably thinking I didn't like it after seeing me standing still, looking around for quite some time. No, I love it. May I know where my room is? I quickly added an explanation, fearing he might overthink again. Mr. Fu, even though we are officially married, we are still strangers. I think it's better to sleep in separate rooms for now. We have a lifetime ahead to cultivate our feelings. It won't be too late to share a room later. He nodded slightly in agreement, silently carrying the suitcase as we went upstairs. Passing by me, I heard him whisper very softly, actually, you can call me by my name. His shyness made me laugh. Who would have thought such a domineering CEO could be so innocent? You have nothing without the Shin family. You are nothing. The girls outside are much more interesting than you. Just hang out with my brothers for a while. Why pretend to be pure now? I knelt on the ground, pleading desperately. Yunjiang, please spare me. Spare the Shin family. Several hands reached toward me, roughly tearing at my clothes. No, don't. I suddenly sat up from the bed, breathing heavily. As thunder roared outside, the near bankruptcy of the Shin family in my previous life was a nightmare I could never forget. Fu Yunjiang was heartless, offering me up to his friends. Fortunately, my best friend arrived just in time to rescue me, barely clothed, wiping the sweat from my forehead. A thought gradually solidified in my mind. In this life, I was determined to make Fu Yunjiang empathize with my pain. However, by myself, I could never stand against the Fu family. If Fu Yunchuan was willing to help, things would be much easier. This was one of the reasons why I chose to ally myself with the Fu family again. The thunder outside continued relentlessly. It had completely driven away any sleepiness. My mouth was dry, so I decided to go downstairs for a water and wander around Fu Yunchuan's grand villa. Unexpectedly, as I passed by the study, I saw Fu Yunchuan still inside. Through the half-open door, I saw him holding a photograph. His eyes filled with love. It was already 4 in the morning. It would soon be daylight. Staying up all night isn't good for health. Staying up. Suddenly, I remembered that in my previous life, Fu Yunchuan had died of liver cancer. Could it have been due to staying up late, ignoring politeness? I pushed the door open, anxiously. I said, Fu Yunchuan, go to sleep. Staying up is bad for your health. Fu Yunchuan, startled by my sudden appearance, scrambled to stash the photographs on his desk into a safe, realizing my rashness. Sorry, I meant it's already 4 in the morning and you have to work, so you should get some rest now. Fu Yunchuan's smile had lingered in his eyes since he started looking at the photos, and this was the first time I saw him smile so openly. I'll put these things away and then go to sleep." As he spoke, he also placed our marriage certificate into the safe. Seeing the safe, identical to the one from my past life, the safe contains the most precious things in the world to him, the assistant's words echoed over and over in my mind. I asked him why he chose to marry me. Perhaps already knowing the answer, but when did he start liking me? Why does he like me? Do I deserve his wholehearted love? What are you thinking about? Why are you awake? Are you scared of the thunder? Fu Yinchuan's 3 gentle inquiries and my 3 puzzled ones made me blurt out something ambiguous. Yes. I'm scared. I want you to be with me. Upon receiving a positive response from me, Fu Yunchuan did not hesitate. Okay, on the way back to the room with Fu Yunchuan. I really wanted to slap myself for speaking nonsense just now. I was the one who suggested sleeping in separate rooms, and now I was asking to sleep together. I didn't know what Fu Yunchuan would think, whether he would find me unreliable and not keeping promises. As soon as I entered the room, I was shocked by the striking red on the bed. The head of the bed was adorned with the character for happiness, and beside the bed were my favorite sunflowers. Fu Yunchuan had actually decorated the room like a bridal chamber. If I hadn't come to his room, I would have missed his intentions. Thinking about this, I looked at him with mixed emotions. His face flushed, he unconsciously fiddled with the hem of his clothes. Like a child whose secret had been discovered, the housekeeper arranged it this afternoon. I didn't know how to respond, as my marriage to him was partly out of guilt and partly for a purpose. I don't deserve his affection. He deserves someone better to be by his side. Fu Yunchuan was confused by my silence, thinking I was disdainful of him. You sleep on the bed, and I'll stay by your side. I choked on 1,000 words and finally managed to say, thank you. Protected by Fu Yunchuan, I had a peaceful night's sleep. Free from nightmares. When I woke up, only the housekeeper and a maid were cleaning the house. Upon seeing me, the maid smiled joyfully. Madam, you are even more beautiful than in the photos. Ah. The housekeeper, standing nearby, made faces, signaling the maid not to speak, but the maid didn't care. The sir has shown us your photos. I shyly smiled. Really? Absolutely. I often see the sir looking at your photos and smiling. He really loves you very much. The maid showed a bit of pride while the housekeeper closed his eyes, indicating he couldn't bear to watch. As the maid was about to say more, the housekeeper covered her mouth, but what he himself said was even more explosive. There's a large sunflower garden in the backyard, personally planted by the sir. I think he planted it because you like it. Would you like to go see it now? This must be what they mean by if you can't beat them, join them. Thank you for telling me. If they hadn't mentioned it, I might never have known these things from Fu Yunchuan. Just as I would never directly ask him if he likes me, just like the language of sunflowers is silent love, from sunrise to sunset, sunflowers silently follow the sun, representing loyalty and devotion. That's why I like them. Looking at the sea of sunflowers before me, tears fell unknowingly. It seems I have found my lifetime sunflower. I dialed Fu Yunchuan's number. The moment the call connected, my voice trembled uncontrollably. Fu Yunchuan, I want to see you. Fu Yunchuan responded gently. Sweetheart, I'll be home soon. Besides the voice of Fu Yunchuan, I also heard someone calling for President Fu. He must be busy, and here I am adding to the chaos. I hastily wiped away my tears and snot, trying to keep my voice steady. You go ahead and take care of your things. After hanging up the phone, I sat alone amidst a sea of flowers, lost in thought. I'm not sure how much time had passed. Footsteps approached from behind, and I was sure it was Fu Yunchuan returning. I turned around joyfully, but the smile froze on my face the moment I saw who it was, and my first instinct was to step back. Ah. Why was Fu Yunjiang here? Hearing him say my name only filled me with disgust, enough to make me want to retch. What are you doing here? Ah. Why have you suddenly started ignoring me? Did I do something wrong? As he said this, he tried to touch me, attempting to embrace me. Panicking, I tried to pull away from his embrace. Let go of me. But I didn't notice a step behind me. I missed it and instinctively lunged forward, falling into his arms. Just then, I saw a tall figure not far away watching us. By the time I steadied myself, the figure had disappeared. I had a bad feeling. He must be angry. Meanwhile, Fu Yunjiang kept babbling. You still love me, right? He still dared to talk to me about love. All I wanted was to tear him apart. Get lost. I'm already married to Fu Yunchuan. Stop bothering me. After pushing him away, I ignored the pain in my ankle and ran towards the house. I hadn't even entered the door when I heard the sound of things being smashed upstairs. A familiar figure hurried towards me as soon as he saw me. It was Fu Yunchuan's assistant from a past life. Madam, our sir has been quite unstable. I've already called the private doctor. Please madam, don't be afraid of sir, and don't get too close. I'm afraid he might hurt you. I shook my head. He's my husband. I'm not afraid. He was upset because of my emotional outburst. How could he hurt me? If anything, he gave me enough confidence to believe he would never harm me. I pushed open the bedroom door, and the room was a mess, but the sunflowers at the bedside were still intact. Fu Yunchuan, with his back to the door, picked up something and was about to throw it at the door, and he yelled, "Get out!" His hand trembled slightly in the last moment before throwing, letting the object fly past me. I was unharmed. But Fu Yunchuan was visibly shaken and quickly strode towards me. He raised his hand wanting to check if I was hurt, but, fearing my anger, he lowered it again. His eyes, large and teary, stared at me unblinkingly, looking rather pitiful with a hint of fear of being abandoned flickering through them. "Tell me, why are you angry?" He remained silent. "Is it because you saw me with Fu Yunjiang?" He nodded slightly. He tried to make advances on me. I dodged and accidentally missed a step, instinctively grabbing him. "So there's nothing between us? Don't overthink it, okay?" He nodded again, the tension in his neck easing, apparently no longer angry. I looked at him with sympathy. "Next time, please ask me first. Don't just sulk on your own, okay? Okay, did you get hurt anywhere?" He raised his hand, childlike, showing me his wound. "My hand hurts. Let's not have a next time." Outside the door, the family doctor and the assistant excitedly embraced each other. Finally, someone can take charge of the boss. No more living in fear, a medical miracle indeed. Someone more effective than a sedative, me. From Fu Yunchuan's family doctor, I learned that Fu Yunchuan suffers from bipolar disorder, sometimes depressive and sometimes irritable. His condition developed over the years during his upbringing. Being the eldest son, the elders in the Fu family were very strict with him from a young age. The heavy responsibilities of the family mostly fell on him, while Fu Yunjiang could choose to do anything he liked, but as the older brother, he could not. In my previous life, before I got married, Fu Yunchuan was in charge of the family's domestic business. After getting married, he went abroad to start from scratch and help expand the family's international business. Fu Yunchuan has always been alone. Learning the full story deepened my resentment toward Fu Yunjiang, wishing I could send him to prison right now. Yes, to prison, as far as I know. Fu Yunjiang has been involved in numerous illegal activities. If I could get the evidence, I could definitely ruin him completely, but this would inevitably affect the Fu family, and I don't want Fu Yunchuan to be hurt, so, I still need to ask for his opinion. During our usual evening walk after dinner, I gathered the courage to ask, "Yunchuan, what would you do if one day you found out a family member was doing something wrong?" He suddenly stopped, letting me look into his eyes. His indulgent gaze seemed to tell me that no matter what, he would be my strong support. Afraid that I might not understand, he gave a firm answer. "Whatever you would do, I would do." The setting sun cast a beautiful glow over the sea of sunflowers, overwhelmed by the beauty. I couldn't help but stand on my tiptoes to kiss Fu Yunchuan. The kiss was intense, and as I pressed my lips against his, he initially stiffened but then smiled slightly, turning passivity into dominance. Assertive and domineering, it was a while before he let me go, his voice hoarse with desire. "Sweetheart, stop tormenting me, I'm not that strong-willed." I clearly understood his meaning. Burying my head in his chest coyly, "Perhaps we could go to the room." He scooped me up like a hungry wolf, his breath moist in my ear. No backing out. I also made my intentions clear to him. No regrets in this lifetime. After a night of passion, when I woke up, it was already noon. Even Fu Yunchuan, who usually wakes up before 7, was still lying beside me. Seeing me awake, he reached out to pull me into his arms. "Are you hungry? Starved?" My voice was hoarse, barely squeezing out the words. The instigator, seeing my disheveled state, actually laughed. Annoyed, I kicked him a few times. "Fu Yunchuan, you still dare to laugh? Tonight I'm sleeping in another room." "Sweetheart, it's not up to you." Indeed, even the most gentle-looking men release their wild side once they've had a taste. How did the checkup go? Remembering that he died of liver cancer in my previous life, I had him undergo a full-body checkup. While eating, Fu Yunchuan put down his chopsticks. "Do you think I'm not okay?" His intense gaze made me feel as if saying yes would guarantee I wouldn't be able to leave the bed for days. Scared, I even dropped the food I was holding. No, 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 being healthy and being okay are two different things. I hope you can stay with me for a long time. All indicators are very healthy. I can satisfy you." This man changes too quickly. Just a short while ago, even holding hands made him blush for a long time. You, don't talk nonsense." After Fu Yunchuan left for the office, I drove to a bar. This bar is privately owned by Fu Yunjiang, and it contains a hidden space where he frequently conducts illegal transactions. Regrettably, I couldn't remember the exact location, otherwise, I wouldn't have agreed to meet Fu Yunjiang. "Fu Yunjiang, I'm waiting for you at the entrance." "Baby, I'll be right there." Laughter came through the phone, and if you listened closely, you could even hear bashful panting. It was utterly disgusting how he could hold one woman while calling another woman baby. Less than 2 minutes after hanging up, he rushed towards me with a flushed face. "That was fast. Xiao Xi, I've missed you so much." Instinctively, I took a step backward as he reached out to me. To avoid arousing his suspicion, pretending to be shy, I said, "Brother Yunjiang, I missed you too." This is the proposal for Fu Yunchuan's next project. For the sake of my goals, I had to endure, baby. You're wonderful. He happily took the USB drive and casually grabbed my hand. Currently, Fu Yunchuan is the head of the Fu Corporation, while Fu Yunjiang is just a department manager, having only recently joined the company. When Fu Yunchuan first joined the company, he started from the very bottom, but Fu Yunjiang was given a high starting point by their father, yet, he was not satisfied. In the past, before he was married, he often complained to me about always living in his brother's shadow and how their parents were biased, and I, foolishly, asked my father to give him the Shin Corporation project to help him climb the corporate ladder. In this life, without the support of the Shin family, he is nothing. Thus, he harbored malicious thoughts, hoping to use me to bring down Fu Yunchuan. Foolish man, resorting only to such despicable tactics. The show has started, and no matter how difficult, I must play my part. Brother Yunjiang, I am nice to Fu Yunchuan only so you can take over the Fu family business sooner. I pushed you away last time because Fu Yunchuan was watching. CI still needs to stay undercover to help you get the information you wouldn't blame. CI, right, I even squeezed out a few tears after saying this. Fu Yunchuan is going abroad tomorrow for business. Can you take me here for fun? I also want to enter your circle. Excitement was unmistakable in Fu Yunjiang's eyes. He had always hinted at wanting to bring me here in his past life. I despised places like this, and I always refused. Eventually, he lost patience and forcibly brought me here to satisfy his peculiar tastes. CI, why would a young lady come to a bar? Let's go somewhere else to have fun. Such a hypocrite, putting on a show of decency. CI is not a child anymore. I am willing to cooperate with Brother Yunjiang. Let's come here, you disobedient little girl. I'll bring you here tomorrow. Don't be upset. That was the phrase I was waiting for. I lowered my head and pushed his hand away, not letting him see the lack of a smile on my face. I have been out for too long. Fu Yunchuan might get suspicious. I should head back. Fortunately, Fu Yunjiang cooperated and let go of my hand. CI, can I have a kiss from you? Even at the verge of leaving, this sleazy man still wanted to disgust me. After a few uncontrollable twitches at the corner of my mouth, I forced a smile. Brother Yunjiang, it's too public here, and you know I'm shy. Wait to have your way tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be waiting for you. The first thing I did when I got home was wash my hands. Dirty. It was really filthy. So, I increased my effort, completely ignoring my hands that had started to bleed, until someone knocked on the bathroom door. Xiao Guai, what are you doing in there? It was Fu Yunchuan. I hadn't expected him to come home so early today. What should I do? Fu Yunchuan is so thoughtful, he will definitely be worried about me. The urgent knocking sounded again. If I didn't go out now, the door would probably not hold. It's okay, I'll be right out. Fortunately, the wound wasn't big. As long as it wasn't visible, it wouldn't be noticed. But Fu Yunchuan knows me too well. He always notices when something is off and manages to pinpoint the issue. He gently held my hand, blowing on it softly. It seemed like he thought this method could lessen my pain. And indeed, it did help. Did he do this? I knew it. Fu Yunchuan must have known that I went to see that person, which is why he came home right after me. I lowered my head, unable to meet his eyes. No, I did it myself. Fu Yunchuan took a deep breath and continued to blow on my hand. I cautiously looked up, trying to read the expression on his face. Aren't you going to ask why I went to see him? A smile flickered in his eyes. Because I trust you, I hope you can rely on me. Tell me what happened, and let me share the burden. Hearing the word rely, I could no longer hold back, and tears burst forth like a flood. Ever since my rebirth, I had been on edge, afraid of repeating past mistakes, afraid to show my vulnerability, afraid of being abandoned again. Each time, it was Fu Yunchuan who, when I was on the brink of an abyss, would tell me, hold on to me, I'll get you out. I told Fu Yunchuan everything about my rebirth, my marriage to Fu Yunjiang, and the near assault. I had thought before not to disclose the disgraceful incidents, worried he might despise me, but now, I just wanted Fu Yunchuan to accept all of me, good and bad, knowing he could embrace it all. After listening, Fu Yunchuan comforted me to stop crying while his own eyes turned red. I'm sorry, I should have been braver, confessed to you earlier, and prevented your hurt. I gently wiped away his tears with my fingertips. Thank God for giving me a second chance, allowing us not to miss out on each other again. Something seemed to dawn on Fu Yunchuan, his gaze turning murderous. It's time to clean house. I won't hinder your plans, but you must follow my arrangements, as you command. The next day, I kept my appointment punctually. Wearing the boldest makeup and the thickest clothes, Fu Yunchuan wouldn't let me wear a skirt and even put a jacket on me, so much so that when Fu Yunjiang saw me, he was baffled. CI, are you cold? I forced a smile. I have a cold, afraid of the cold. Disdain flickered in Fu Yunjiang's eyes. Who comes to a bar in a white t-shirt and jeans? It's okay, it'll be warm inside. He was already eager, wrapping his arm around my waist and leading me into the bar. Following Fu Yunjiang through 3 long corridors, until we reached a wall, he pressed hard on a dragon-shaped fixture on the wall. A door appeared out of nowhere. It was clear that he had put a lot of thought into constructing this hidden room. Inside the concealed space, the lighting was even more glaring than outside. Several couples sat on the sofas, openly engaging in their activities, kissing and more. The feeling of physical discomfort intensified. Guys, this is my girlfriend. Miss Shin from the Shin family, isn't she beautiful? After saying this, he handed me a glass of wine. I continued to play sick. Brother Yunjiang, I took some antibiotics. I can't drink alcohol. Before coming here, Fu Yunjiang repeatedly reminded me not to touch anything, especially food and drinks. Unrelenting, Fu Yunjiang suggested, then have some juice. To avoid arousing his suspicion, I reluctantly accepted it. Then I changed the subject. They look so happy. I want to be happy too. Fu Yunjiang pointed to the drink in my hand. Drink this, and I'll tell you how. He was indirectly forcing me to drink, and I knew without a doubt that something had been added to it. What if I don't drink it? I swirled the juice, feigning innocence. Fu Yunjiang, undeterred and with a sleazy expression, said, then let's get started. After pushing me onto the sofa with force, he hurriedly began to unbuckle his belt, while the onlookers cheered him on. Master Fu. Miss Shin clearly needs some disciplining. Let the brothers witness Master Fu's prowess today. Their comments became increasingly explicit, and Fu Yunjiang was visibly excited by the provocation. I watched as if it were just a spectacle, not frightened at all, because my police best friend and Fu Yunjiang were already waiting outside the door. Just then, as if on cue, there was a roar. Damn it, how dare you touch my woman? The man who was on top of me was kicked into the corner. After a few more punches, Fu Yunjiang was left unable to move. Once again, it was my best friend who first came to my rescue. Fu Yunjiang rushed in, headed straight for me on the sofa, scooped me up, and pressed me tightly against his chest. Shinsiai, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Yes. I love seeing you go crazy for me. Actually, when we found this hidden room, I could have signaled to wrap things up, but I deliberately delayed to make Fu Yunjiang anxious. Bai Yuyu's brows were furrowed. Hey, you two can be affectionate back at home. Thank you, Yuyu. Thank me by giving me a godson or goddaughter soon. I want to raise them from a young age, train them. The peaceful scene was interrupted by groans from the corner. Fu Yunjiang, disappointed like a parent with an unfulfilling child, added 2 more kicks. You've completely tarnished the Fu family's reputation, focusing on these shady businesses instead of the Fu Corporation. And don't think I don't know about your financial dealings with other companies. I've already handed over the evidence of your bribery and tax evasion to the police. Just wait for your imprisonment. Fu Yunjiang struggled to lift his head. Dad will help me. What a joke. I knew his parents from the Fu family, who were strict and honorable, would never help him. He was a cancer to the family, and it was already merciful that they hadn't cut him off sooner. Fu Yunjiang, with a frosty face, relayed a message from his father. You are no longer a member of the Fu family. Fu Yunjiang tried to argue further, but Bai Yuyu, annoyed by the noise, had him dragged away. The ending I had long hoped for was finally realized, and the heavy stone in my heart was lifted. All the happiness seemed surreal. Fortunately, I have a husband who understands my love-struck mind, and he can turn the unreal into reality. Honey, what's our next mission? Organize a wedding and then have a baby. The wedding arrived as scheduled. Before the wedding day, Fu Yunchuan had been keeping secrets and didn't reveal any details to me. Finally, the day arrived. I held my father's hand, waiting for the entrance gate to slowly open. The wedding march began to play. The venue was decorated entirely with sunflowers, as beautiful as an oil painting. Seeing the scene, identical to one from a past life, I instantly understood that Fu Yunchuan had personally arranged my previous wedding as well. Tears inevitably started to fall. It was my fault for being so oblivious. I was constantly surrounded by his love yet never truly perceived it. At the wedding speech, Fu Yunchuan looked at me with adoring eyes and loudly exclaimed, "Wife, I hope your life is peaceful and smooth. And I want the whole world to hear it." His childish behavior successfully made me laugh. "Bow your head. I only want you to hear this." Fu Yunchuan obediently bent down. "Then you must live well." Extra story 1. The patient's breathing and heartbeat have been restored. I groggily opened my eyes to a bright light. When I opened my eyes again, excited voices filled the large hospital room. "President Fu, you're awake. The doctors were lying. They said you had no will to live, that you might not wake up." Wang Yang, always so dramatic, having spent a lot of time with Shinsiai, I had grown to enjoy this kind of liveliness. "Where's my wife?" For some reason, Wang Yang's bright smile vanished instantly, and he looked down, avoiding my gaze. After a moment of silence, he spoke in a very soft voice. "President Fu, you are not married. What nonsense is this child talking about? If I weren't in such poor health, I would give him a good beating. How can you forget your wife, Shinsiai?" Wang Yang quickly looked up to check my emotional state, then looked down again. "You've forgotten again? Miss Shin passed away from liver cancer a year ago. You attended her funeral. You're talking nonsense." I just married her. My voice grew quieter, eventually turning into a murmur. Just now, she was whispering in my ear, telling me to live well. President Fu, please, don't get agitated. I'll call the doctor. I murmured softly. How can this be? She has just married me. But while I vehemently denied it, I was also gradually coming to terms with reality, too. After being discharged from the hospital, I went to the prison to visit someone. Brother, I know I was wrong. The person in front of me cried profusely, yet their face showed no sign of regret. A year ago, after hearing of Shinsi's death, I thought Fu Yunjiang was joking. After rushing back to the country overnight, I saw Shinsi at the memorial service. Fu Yunjiang's expression was the same as now, feigning regret. That night, after catching Fu Yunjiang bringing another woman home, it didn't seem like his first time. After I hit him, he provocatively said, "That woman doesn't care about me anymore, she's a ghost now and cares even less." I realized that Shinsi hadn't had a happy marriage. From Bai Yuyu, I also learned that Fu Yunjiang, that scoundrel, treated Shinsi as a plaything and passed her around to others. As I couldn't find evidence to convict him, the matter was unresolved. After hearing all this, I felt my blood freeze, and I was beyond tears. She was supposed to be the son, how could she be so scarred? The person I held dear, he failed to cherish her. Leaving him in society would only cause harm. And it was time I cleaned house for the Fu family. Over 6 months, I gradually took control of the domestic businesses, collecting evidence of Fu Yunjiang's counterfeit goods and bribery. Evidence of tax evasion, all of it was finally handed over to Bai Yuyu. No, you don't understand, Shinsi will never come back. If it hadn't been for you, she wouldn't have died. I will not easily let go of anyone who has hurt Shinsi. Before I left, I gave him a piece of news. You will spend the rest of your life inside, repenting. 3. It was evening, and I returned to the sunflower field. I sat where Shinsi had sat in my dreams, reminiscing about the past. I met 10-year-old Shinsi at the hospital when I was 15, the first time I saw her. I was sitting on a bench, daydreaming. A little girl holding a bouquet of sunflowers suddenly fell heavily in front of me. I moved my feet away in distaste and coldly watched as she picked herself up from the ground. After she stood up, she put her hands on her hips. Why didn't you help me up? I don't like physical contact and ignored her. Moving to another spot to sit, the little girl followed me relentlessly. You're sick, aren't you? That's why you don't have the strength. What a fool, making excuses for others. Then I'll give you a bouquet of sunflowers. Get well soon. I was just here to play. I wasn't sick. Seeing that I didn't accept them, she wasn't upset, and left the bouquet on the chair next to me before running off. The next day, I was sitting in the usual spot and saw that girl again, still smiling as she gave me a bouquet of sunflowers. From the 3rd day on, I actually started looking forward to seeing her. After a long wait, I thought she wouldn't come again. Just as I was about to leave, she asked, "Brother, are you feeling better?" I nodded, looking at the sunflowers in her hand. She immediately understood and handed me a bouquet. Get well soon. For the next month, I was there every day waiting for her. As long as it didn't rain, she would come, but then, she stopped coming. After inquiring at the hospital, I learned that the girl who brought sunflowers to the hospital every day was Shinsi, the daughter of Uncle Shin. Fortunately, our families were on good terms, so there would definitely be a chance to meet again. Young love grew wildly. I wanted to see her but was also afraid she'd be scared. I only watched her from a distance. Finally, when she grew up, under my encouragement, our parents decided on a marriage alliance with the Shin family. But why did she fall for Fu Yunjiang? We were the ones who met first. My heart sank into an icy cellar. I so wanted to tell her that I loved her, but seeing the happy smile on her face, I knew it was time to step back. I took on the task of preparing Fu Yunjiang's wedding. Perhaps this would give me brief comfort. Fantasizing that she was marrying me. Before going abroad, I secretly took a photo of Shinsi's smile for the last time, capturing her happiest moment forever. In a daze, I saw Shinsi smiling again. I'm sorry I couldn't come back sooner. As I reached out to embrace her, her shadow disappeared. Suddenly, a gust of wind entered my embrace, spreading warmth throughout my body. I murmured in a trance, "Is that you?" As the wind blew past my ears, I seemed to hear Shinsi's voice. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Epilogue. The first meeting was a fleeting glance. The encounter was like spring to withered wood. The reunion was unexpected. Each day spent making up for regrets was a countdown to the end. In the end, it was all but a dream, and upon waking, you were no longer in this world. Do you regret it, you timid secret admirer?